Bueno, buenas tardes, bienvenidos a nuestra casa de estudios. Yo soy el ingeniero Víctor Barbuto, vicedecano de la Facultad Regional Avellaneda, y en nombre de nuestro decano Luis Garaventa les doy la bienvenida, les agradezco la presencia. Fundamentalmente es un honor, un gusto para nosotros realizar este tipo de actividades. Agradecerle a Zsolt, que es el orador y al que ustedes vinieron a escuchar, a nuestro Departamento de Materias Básicas y a la profe Cristina Canover, que organizó esta actividad. Como no me vinieron a escuchar a mí, simplemente es una apertura institucional y le doy la palabra a Cristina para que presente la actividad. Muchas gracias.
Sí, dale. Buenas tardes a todas y a todos, gracias por participar. Mi nombre es Nora Dari, soy la secretaria de Ciencia, Tecnología y Posgrado de la Regional. Lo interesante de esta actividad es que viene en concatenación con una que se estuvo haciendo la semana anterior en la sede de Mitre, donde se experimentaron y se trabajó bajo la estructura STEAM determinados canales y espectros específicos para ver no solo la enseñanza, sino los espacios de la práctica y de la interacción con el mundo. La intención de escucharlo a Zsolt es casualmente reforzar estas cuestiones en todos los ámbitos, ya no tan específicos como el de la semana anterior, para que podamos nosotros a su vez replicar acciones dentro de nuestros espacios. Así que muchas gracias a todos y a todas por participar y gracias a Zsolt por la presencia. ¿Sí? Bueno, buenas tardes a todos, a todas. Es un gusto tener a Zsolt, Lavicza, muy generoso de su parte, haber venido a hacer la presentación, después de haber tenido una semana hermosa de escuela de verano y conferencias de investigación sobre educación STEAM. Zsolt es una eminencia, ¿qué puedo decir? Ya creo que la mayoría lo conoce. Es director de investigaciones en la Universidad Johannes Kepler, en Linz, Austria. También es el director del Instituto Geográfico Internacional, allí. Dirigió la Escuela de Educación en Cambridge. Un montón de cosas más. Su currículum es súper extenso, pero bueno, lo más importante es que está con nosotros, es un gran amigo. Y además es un gran bailarín de tango. Hay que ver. Bueno, ya la presentación está hecha y los dejo para que Zsolt haga su presentación. ¿Sí? ¿Querés traducir? ¿O you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. What she said, one wonderful things about you, but on top of that, she said that you are a good tango dancer.
Yeah. Okay. Gracias a las autoridades por permitirnos hacer este evento, el evento de la Semana STEAM, que ya el año que viene se va a repetir. Ya tenemos una gran comunidad de investigadores de educación STEAM en distintas partes del mundo. Han venido de Uruguay, de Perú, me dicen, de Irán, de Austria. Bueno, algo me debo olvidar, bueno, nosotros por supuesto, Argentina, y se está haciendo una muy linda comunidad de investigadores. Así que también los invito a participar de esa comunidad. Gracias.
So thank you very much for this warm welcome. I'm very happy to be here. And we have been working with Christina and then many colleagues across South America on STEAM education, and I will talk about this.
Y bueno, él va a hablar sobre STEAM Education porque estuvo trabajando con varios colegas, con Cristina y otros colegas en toda Sudamérica, no South America. Así que bueno, ese es el tema.
So why I'm here, because together with Cristina and then Pablo Carranza, we organized this conference and doctoral summer school on research and STEAM education.
Bueno, con Cristina junto con Carranza, ¿no? Ellos organizaron, sí, estas charlas, porque bueno, tiene que ver con el tema de investigación.
And we plan to have this as a small event with probably 10 or 15 participants. And then it turned out that there was so much interest that we had more than 50 talks.
Bueno, planeaban 10 o 15 y la gente estaba tan interesada que terminaron teniendo más de 50 charlas.
We had lots of invited speakers.
Y muchos invitados para hablar, ¿sí?
And then more than 100 participants from all over the world to participate on-site and online at the conference.
Y bueno, y tuvieron más de 100 participantes, también presenciales y online.
So you can find all of these details on the conference website, but most importantly that this become very successful. So we will repeat it next February.
Just wait a minute because they want to introduce you to someone. The academic sector. They want to introduce you. So we stop here so that. Subsect. Sorry.
Oh, hello.
Bueno, contamos con la presencia de la doctora Julieta Rosenhaus, subsecretaria académica de la Buenas tardes, en realidad, buenas tardes. Bueno, un gusto para mí estar hoy aquí compartiendo con ustedes esta clase y bueno, vinimos también la secretaria académica y yo en función de acompañar esta actividad y todas las actividades que se están realizando en este marco de educación STEAM y bueno, así que nos deseo a todos una jornada provechosa y un gusto para mí compartir con ustedes. Voy a aprender mucho porque sé poquito de matemáticas, así que me va a venir también bien el aprendizaje. Somos bueno, un gusto para mí compartir y que esté a disposición.
She's very happy.
Yes.
Talk that we're giving and she's eager to learn, she said.
Oh, great. Thank you. So
Yes.
it was very successful. So we already have more than people from more than 20 countries confirmed that they will come here next year.
El próximo año ya confirmaron participantes de más de 20 países y lo que había dicho antes, justo cuando paramos para la presentación, es que en la web ustedes pueden encontrar fotos, pueden ver, ¿no?, sobre esas charlas.
So it would be great to have you here as well with many people. So we plan this next year from 5 to 9 February 2020.
Próximo año. Ya planificaron para el próximo año del 5 al 9 de febrero. ¿Sí?
So this was about why I'm here.
Por eso está acá.
And I will talk about my work. So I talk a little bit about technology and then also that how we can use technology and arts in STEAM education.
Él va a hablar sobre tecnología y sobre arte, cómo ustedes lo pueden combinar y utilizar en este tipo de educación, ¿no? STEAM.
So as Christina said that I used to lead the research group, the research program on STEAM or education in the University of Cambridge for 7 years.
Durante 7 años él hizo estos grupos de investigación en la Universidad de Cambridge.
And I was hired in Austria to start a doctoral program with a similar perspective as we do the program in Cambridge. So I'm building a doctoral program in Linz, and I would like to introduce you what we are doing.
Bueno, la idea era replicar lo que había hecho en Cambridge, en Austria. Entonces, lo que él nos va a mostrar es esto, el programa, ¿sí? Que implementó en la universidad.
So in our doctoral school, we have now approximately 50 PhD students working on STEAM education and innovation, and we have lots of visitors joining our work.
Tienen en este momento más o menos 50 doctorandos en la universidad que están trabajando sobre STEAM.
And I have many students from South America, from Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and mostly from Uruguay.
Bueno, estudiantes de todos estos países que acabo de mencionar y la mayoría de Uruguay.
And our goal was with this conference to develop a community here in South America or Latin America, and then connect it with our research in Europe.
Bueno, la idea es formar una comunidad acá en el país y después poder conectarlos con la comunidad que existe en Europa.
And so what we are doing is try to have this kind of international research, and then also we are planning to write some grant applications. So it would be very nice that if you be part of this community and work together with Cristina and the local.
Bueno, está invitando, ¿no?, a que formen parte de esta comunidad para trabajar junto con Cristina, porque esta sería la idea, ¿no? Lo que ellos proyectan hacer es esto, ¿no?, que puedan formar parte.
And also in Linz, we are not only doing STEAM education, but we have computer science education. We have many projects. I'm currently running 15 European projects with about 25 different countries.
Él está a cargo de unos 15 proyectos en toda Europa, también con ciencias de la computación, no solamente STEAM. 15, sí. 15, está en 15 proyectos.
And also, what is the advantage of being in Linz? That with my colleagues, we started GeoGebra together. And then the main development center of GeoGebra is in Linz.
El centro más desarrollado sobre álgebra está en Linz, ¿no? Sí.
So my colleague, Professor Hohenbacher, who is the head of GeoGebra, we are working together. He's our department head.
Bueno, es el director del Departamento de Álgebra, que es su colega con el que trabajan en conjunto.
And also GeoGebra started as a kind of mathematics tool, but now it's become a huge platform for using in all different subjects, and it's used all over the world.
Es una plataforma que se usa en otras disciplinas, no solamente matemáticas.
And also there are more than 100 million students are using GeoGebra, and I think most of the students here in Argentina and in Latin America are using GeoGebra.
Bueno, ahí está el número de estudiantes que están haciendo uso, sí, de la plataforma, ¿no? Es una plataforma. GeoGebra.
And also, we planned GeoGebra with Marcus for secondary school, but now it's used from kindergarten to university, and then all different subjects.
O sea, en todos los niveles, desde jardín de infantes hasta la universidad. Primero lo planearon para primary school, you said at the beginning?
No, it's even kindergarten.
But at first
in secondary.
Secondary. Claro, planearon primero para secundaria, pero ahora en todos los niveles lo usan.
And probably many of you are using GeoGebra.
Y quizás ustedes muchos se lo están usando.
But then the main strength of GeoGebra is not only the software, but it's the community. Because it's an open source project, so what we have is that everyone is sharing their resources. So there are more than 2 million resources already on GeoGebra, and every day there are like 5,000 to 10,000 new ideas are shared.
Bueno, lo importante es que es abierto, entonces hay un montón de recursos y que se suman cada vez más, ¿no? Está dando un número impresionante de recursos que se pueden utilizar.
And also we have GeoGebra communities, and it's really active in Latin America.
La comunidad es muy activa en América Latina.
For example, Karina
Bueno,
is our one of the main contributors of GeoGebra, and she has a very famous project on
Tiene un
photogebra.
proyecto muy famoso ella, ¿no? Una de las... Fotogebra. Mira, una de las grandes contribuyentes, digamos, ¿no?
So we are working on it. We are very keen to bring this photogebra project to Europe. So we already started working on it.
Ya empezaron a trabajar para llevarlo a Europa. Bien.
Because
bien.
it's extremely successful here.
Es muy exitoso. Acá. Good.
Yeah, but we have a huge community.
La comunidad es muy grande, ¿no?
And what we are doing in our doctoral school to look at education in the complexity, that how we can use technology, arts, different research methods and theories to understand what is happening in education, because it's changing very fast.
Bueno, en el doctorado ellos lo que hacen es que confluyan no solamente matemáticas, sino arte, tecnología, y sobre todo para entender qué pasa con la educación, ¿no? Porque en definitiva ese es el objetivo.
So what I would like to tell you today is more about examples of my students' work, and then what we are doing, and then how we can use research to better understand education and then improve education.
Él va a compartir ejemplos de sus estudiantes para demostrar cómo la investigación puede contribuir en la educación.
So our work is mostly concerned of innovations in pedagogy, innovation in technology, and innovation in policy and assessment.
Bueno, principalmente el eje es la innovación, ¿no? En tecnología, en pedagógica y también en la evaluación y las políticas.
But innovation cannot be done without creativity, and then what we want to do is then creating an environment when creativity will become part of education as well, not just repetition.
Bueno, no se puede hacer innovación sin creatividad. Entonces, es un concepto importante.
So there are lots of definitions of creativity. We found 120, but there is no one creativity. There are lots of creativities. And then we want to address all of them, this kind of different creativities.
Hay 120 definiciones de creatividad, pero hay distintos tipos de creatividad. No hay solamente una manera, ¿sí?
And how we are doing it most of the time is not only basing on one subject, like mathematics and physics, but we want to have this complexity. So we are trying to have this transdisciplinary education when subjects are connected, and at the same time we create the environment when these new kind of learning can be possible.
La idea es crear ese medio donde este tipo de educación es posible y no es solamente matemática o física, ¿no? Por eso esto de la interdisciplinariedad es un término tan complejo de decir.
So one more step beyond interdisciplinarity, because we want to create a whole environment, not only just conduct the subjects by themselves.
Es crear un medio ambiente nuevo, digamos, ¿no? Es crear otro medio ambiente, no es solamente la interdisciplinaridad.
So my colleague, if I have time, I will talk about this concept later, because my colleagues in Cambridge are developing this transdisciplinary idea.
Va a volver de nuevo sobre este concepto si hay tiempo, porque sus colegas en Cambridge son los que están, digamos, en el tema.
So essentially what we do is that we try to create the conditions for teachers and students to be able to creative in the schools, beyond the schools, online, and then so on. So we take any crazy ideas which could be done in education.
La idea es crear un contexto donde tanto alumnos como profesores ¿sí? puedan trabajar y dice que esto se logra a partir de ideas que son bastante locas.
So first I will talk about the technological innovations.
Primero va a hablar de las innovaciones tecnológicas.
So when we started GeoGebra, it was more like computers on desktops, but now most of the work is done on mobile phones, and then accessibility is there. Every student has a mobile phone.
Al principio solamente era para trabajar en la computadora, ¿no? El programa GeoGebra. Pero bueno, ahora es en el celular porque todos tienen acceso a un celular.
And it's very different to create examples and exercises on computers and on mobile phones, and then we can be much more creative with the technology. So my students are doing lots of research on the interface, that how we can create something new with mobile technologies.
Es diferente, no es lo mismo crear para la computadora que para el teléfono, y mucho más innovador hacerlo para el teléfono.
And also, because we are moving a lot to the online space, especially during the pandemic, lots of people moved online. So we created a virtual learning environment, which is GeoGebra Classroom. Maybe some of you are using it.
Y bueno, por la cuestión de la pandemia, obviamente, crearon un entorno virtual, y él dice que muchos de ustedes puede que lo estén usando, ¿no? GeoGebra, este Classroom.
So now every teacher can create their own classroom online, and they can follow all the students, and then they can collaborate together, the students, and so collaboration is a very important part.
Sí, la colaboración obviamente es central, porque cada profesor puede crear su propia aula, y en esa aula puede hacer un seguimiento de los alumnos, pueden intercambiar, por eso, bueno, lo de trabajar colaborativamente, ¿no?
So if you haven't tried, try. This is a very interesting environment.
Si no lo hicieron, háganlo.
And also, because we have, so in the past we had the problem that we don't have enough resources. Now we have too many resources, and then what we want to find is that what are the good resources, and then how we can find them easily to give it to the teachers, for the students that doing this, and then we are doing some AI experiments. With,
bueno, antes no había tantos recursos, ahora tenemos demasiados recursos, bueno, y la idea es buscarlos para poder trabajar, ¿no?
So now when you are searching on GeoGebra, then you find more relevant materials, because we are doing lots of work on the background, that how to suit the users with the best experience.
Bueno, si ustedes buscan en GeoGebra, van a encontrar que hay muchísimos materiales que ellos están trabajando y aportando, ¿no?, a la plataforma.
I think I skipped the sensors, but we are doing a lot of things beyond the telephones. But what we started is augmented reality.
Están haciendo cosas que van más allá del uso del celular, y empezaron con esta realidad aumentada, ¿no?
Is anyone of you
¿Alguien?
tried augmented reality in
¿Alguien trata con
GeoGebra?
esto?
I think it's really worth to try augmented reality, because in that case, what we can do, we can bring the real environment together with the augmented environment, and then, for example, we can do modeling of objects with the students on real places.
Se pueden hacer modelos de objetos en lugares reales.
And this kind of modeling is very inspiring for the student. So I will talk a lot about this kind of modeling
Es muy
environment.
inspirador para los alumnos este tipo de modelaje, ¿no?
And the students are much better than the teachers.
Y los alumnos son mejores que los profesores en esto.
With the technology, so we need to inspire the kids to.
Claro, hay que motivarlos, ¿no? Porque realmente son muy buenos.
And also we can bring mathematical objects or any kind of objects into the real space, and then have students to explore in the space.
Se puede traer cualquier objeto al espacio real y los alumnos pueden explorarlo.
And then this allows or makes the students do this exploration, and then that is really motivating, and then students are learning a lot.
Sí, está motivador trabajar en este contexto, que por supuesto aprenden muchísimo.
And I will talk more about augmented reality, but what is really good now with GeoGebra, that whatever we are modeling in GeoGebra can be printed. So one of main research focus on 3D printing.
Bueno, todo lo que ellos trabajan en GeoGebra después puede ser impreso. Entonces esto es Bueno, obviamente.
So I just brought a 3D printer to the
Trajo
lab
la impresora 3D.
in my suitcase.
Trajo en su valija.
No,
Una.
Yeah, and then I think you can start experimenting with the 3D printing. We already did in the summer school.
Ellos lo hicieron en la escuela de verano, experimentar con la impresora 3D.
Yeah, so we just got a new grant where we can buy lots of printers.
¿Una beca?
So
Bueno,
we will buy like
una
50 or 100
Yes.
printers.
Tienen 50 or 100.
Yeah, 50 to 100 printers.
50 a 100 impresoras. Bueno.
So I think we will bring some printers for the summer school
Sí,
and next year.
algunas para la escuela de verano. Para el año que viene, sí.
So we are experimenting with everything which can be done with the technology, with augmented reality. The students are experimenting with 3D printing.
Los estudiantes están experimentando con estas impresoras 3D.
And also we are trying to look at 3D printing arts, because arts and then 3D printing has lots of STEM subjects, so mathematics, physics, all of this can be experimented with 3D printers.
Bueno, sí, todas las disciplinas, matemática, física, todas pueden, digamos, experimentarse con una impresora 3D.
So when I talk about pedagogical innovation, I talk a lot on augmented reality and 3D.
Bueno, va a volver cuando hable de la implicancia pedagógica.
And we have some projects on AI, that how do we develop learning analytics, so how to suit the students that when they solve a problem, then what would be the next problem they have. So we are doing in this kind of learning trajectories.
Una trayectoria de aprendizaje con análisis, lo traducen analytics, lo que es analítica. Sí. Inteligencia artificial. Entonces, los alumnos resuelven algo y resuelven un problema y siguen en esa misma trayectoria con el problema siguiente.
So we have a big project in Austria, and then we can create examples for the entire curriculum, and then we will have this kind of AI-based student learning environment when the students can progress by themselves.
Es un contexto en el que los alumnos van progresando por sí solos, ¿sí?
And also, if you didn't try, then we have a feature of GeoGebra, which many of you know, it's called GeoGebra Notes.
Bueno, si no lo hicieron, hay una característica de la plataforma, que son las notas, ¿no?
So GeoGebra Notes is a collaborative environment. So this is a big canvas where you can have GeoGebra files, you can write, you can include videos and text and so on. So it's an online collaborative environment for students and teachers.
Es un contexto colaborativo, un gran canvas, donde pueden insertar videos, pueden escribir.
And also, what we try to do is that mapping the different subjects.
También pueden hacer mapeos, mapas conceptuales.
So
¿no?
if the students want to learn something on mathematics, we have already a map for mathematics, but we are developing it for physics and biology and other STEM
Otras disciplinas.
subjects.
Están desarrollando estos mapas para otras disciplinas, no solo para matemáticas.
And it's very high quality resources.
Y son recursos de alta calidad.
Great. So these are the technologies what we are developing, but I think it's more interesting for you, our pedagogical innovations.
Bueno, ahora supone que esto es más interesante para ustedes, que son las innovaciones pedagógicas.
And gamification is one of the main highlights of our work, that how we can create a gamified environment.
Bueno, la creación de estos contextos de juego que serían centrales, ¿no? Para ellos.
So we are identifying game elements like leaderboards and stars and then so on. But the most important that it's here, in the conference, we had a huge gamification group from Uruguay, and then you have the best gamified developers here in Latin America.
O sea,
In Uruguay.
tuvieron en la escuela un grupo de Uruguay en educación.
So if you want to do gamification, Uruguay is the place.
Hay que ir a Uruguay.
And so besides gamification, which is just the structure of elements, we are doing a lot with games.
Están trabajando mucho con juegos.
And we started in this kind of game development with my ex-PhD students, who was always also here from Brazil, Diego Lieban.
Estuvieron trabajando con ellos.
Sí, trajo
algunas.
cosas hechas
En 3D, con impresora 3D, ¿no?
3D.
So he is now professor in Brazil.
Un profesor, colega, colega.
Sí, sí, estuvo en Austria.
En Austria y ahora es profesor en Brasil.
Trabaja con...
So what we try to do is that looking at the physical and the digital resources, and then we notice that the students are moving from the physical to the digital or digital to the physical very easily, and we wanted to create games which help students to move between physical and digital.
Claro, los alumnos se mueven de lo físico a lo digital, van y vienen, entonces la idea es crear, digamos, teniendo en cuenta esto, ¿no? Ida y vuelta.
But what we noticed with Diego is that students are much better creating games.
Sí, los estudiantes son mucho mejores creando juegos.
So what we did is that then these are some examples which are created by students and then also student teachers. Mostraron lo que los alumnos habían hecho. And what we try to do with Diego to get this kind of new era of manipulatives, when we can have digital manipulatives and then we can have physical manipulatives, and then try to experiment that how this kind of dynamics is working, and then how we can improve teaching and learning in the schools.
Claro, esta dinámica, esta era de manipulativos, que dice él, cómo funciona dentro de la escuela, dentro de la educación, perdón.
So we had many different kind of games. These are just some of the examples on what we are developing. These are very simple ones. So for example, the spiral, the students can do it in 5 minutes, and then they learn lots of mathematics, and then they do 3D printing. So it could be a very complex exercise with a very simple problem.
Bueno, este es un ejemplo, dice que es muy simple, que los alumnos lo hacían rápidamente, pero después se combina con la impresión 3D, y entonces se hace más complejo.
And also we are trying to look at games which is already used in different worlds. So for example, this is a game called Logiphases, when you have to create a continuous surface. It's very complex, but it gives lots of opportunity for learning.
También usaron juegos que ya existen, ¿sí? Bueno, se van complejizando, ¿no? Entonces, you said that it was one of the...
Yeah, it was an award-winning game by a designer, and then we use it for education.
Claro, usaron ese mismo juego que ya era conocido en educación.
And actually, all of the things what I'm talking about is available for free. And then we wrote like 250 publications. So I think Christina can share all of the materials. So you can use all of this.
Ese material es gratis, entonces se puede compartir con todos.
And this is some of my PhD students working on some games.
Algunos estudiantes trabajando en los juegos.
So we had a project to create interesting games. So we recreated the Logiphases game with 3D printing, and then through the 3D printing process, students learn a lot, and then they can be very creative in.
Con este juego, bueno, ellos lo llevaron a la impresora 3D, y lo que él dice es que los alumnos pueden crear y son muy creativos, ¿no? They are very creative.
Yes. And we can just use very simple ideas that, for example, dividing a cube into equal volumes, and there are infinite many solutions. And then students created hundreds of different solutions, learning lots of things about mathematics. And then we can use it as games for the university and for the classroom.
Dividir, por ejemplo, un cubo y tiene un montón de posibilidades para resolverlo. Entonces lo que hacen los alumnos es explorar todas esas posibilidades. Y entonces lo que él dice es que es muy motivador hasta en la universidad trabajar de esta manera.
And then we had a teacher training course for pre-service teachers to create games. And then this is a game from the Voronoi diagram, I think many of you know. And then we can make it a 3D from 3D printing, and then become a puzzle which we can use to teach many mathematical concepts.
Ellos tienen un curso para los que van a ser profesores, los futuros profesores, y entonces este es un juego que dice que todos ustedes seguramente conocen, y lo llevan a la impresora 3D, y bueno, y lo que hacen es crear, es innovar con esto.
And another student idea was to use geometry for making cookie cutters. And then you can use cookie cutters, and then you can bake, and then you can eat mathematics together with the students.
Bueno, otra alumna lo que hizo fue diseñar estos cortantes de pasta, entonces haces galletitas con esto y te comes la matemática.
And also we teach 3D printing for students, so we have a wooden 3D printer, so they have to assemble it, understand that how the printer is working.
También ellos tienen que armar la impresora para que entiendan cómo funciona la impresora.
And another teacher from Luxembourg came up with this really interesting game. So this is half of the game 3D printed, but half of the game is augmented reality. So the students can only solve the problem if they do the puzzle with the real objects and with the augmented reality objects.
Bueno, y lo diseñó este profesor de Luxemburgo, y la primera parte es físico, entonces ellos tienen que trabajar sobre esto, pero lo tienen que resolver con la realidad aumentada. Entonces la solución la tienen cuando van al GeoGebra.
So students are very good moving between the physical and the digital. We cannot really imagine this. I think this is a very good opportunity for them to learn, and then for us to learn from them.
Bueno, fue una oportunidad descubrir esto, cómo se pueden mover de lo que es físico a lo que es digital, y cómo pueden aprender con eso, y también ellos cómo aprendieron, ¿no?, de estos alumnos.
And also my students are working on microgames. So microgames are just very short games, maximum 5 minutes. And then it could give some ideas for the teachers to introduce, or what we found, that it's more like a mindfulness thing. If the students play for 5 minutes, then they are much more present and much more attentive in the classroom.
Bueno, y estos son estos microjuegos que no llevan más de 5 minutos resolver. Entonces ellos lo que pudieron ver es que los alumnos con este tipo de juegos están como más involucrados en la clase, ¿no?
And this has become a very popular subject during COVID, like micro lectures.
Bueno, durante el COVID se tornó un tema muy interesante, como las microconferencias.
And actually, Laura in La Plata is one of the main developers of microgames in the world. So
Bueno, alguien es uno de los... Laura del Río. Bueno, una de las mejores desarrolladoras de estos microgames.
So Austria and Argentina are the microgame universe.
Bueno, Austria y Argentina conforman el universo de macrogames.
Okay, and then we also work with a very interesting game. So this is a game of Polyuniverse, which is also inspired in La Plata.
También este juego, bueno, inspirado en La Plata, también surgió de ahí, ¿no? Parece.
And then we can teach lots of topics: geometry, algebra, combinatorics, and we just published a book with 100 different exercises.
Se pueden enseñar muchas disciplinas, ¿no? Matemática, álgebra, combinatorias, que no sé qué es, pero ustedes todos saben. Y también hay un libro publicado sobre esto.
And we are also working with the group of Erne Rubik, who you might know from the Rubik Group.
También están trabajando con este grupo, ¿no? Del cubo de Rubik, del cubo Rubik.
So then the group of Rubik are developing lots of new games, and then one of them is for the 150th anniversary of Mondrian.
Están desarrollando varios juegos y uno de ellos es por el 150 aniversario del nacimiento de Mondrian.
And then also this is a game which you can use a lot for education.
También se puede utilizar mucho este juego para la educación.
So games are important. We have lots of other experiences,
Tienen otras experiencias además de los juegos,
but we also looking at cultures in which we can use culture to inspire students to learn about different subjects.
También la cultura es importante para inspirar a los alumnos y aprender sobre distintas materias.
And then also we are looking at culture also from the physical and the digital perspectives.
También desde la perspectiva física y digital miran la cultura.
So one of my students in Egypt who is finishing her PhD is looking at how we can connect architecture and mathematics and physics and other subjects.
Bueno, una de sus alumnas está viendo cómo conectar arquitectura con matemática y con otras materias.
So we are developing a platform where the teachers can choose that what they want to do. To be modern architecture, old architecture, modeling in physical and digital resources, in the classroom, outdoor, in museums, and for different age of the students. So we can use this kind of cultural objects like buildings for using in the classroom.
Bueno, ellos están creando una plataforma donde el profesor, la profesora, elige, decide sobre qué y están utilizando, por ejemplo, arquitectura, diferentes edificios.
And we run lots of experiments, and the students are very knowledgeable of doing this kind of modeling. So these are some of the models that the students, very young students, are doing.
Estos son algunos modelos que les trae de alumnos que son muy jóvenes, ¿sí? Y están como muy motivados también con esto.
And then we can use it to inspire and then also deepen in the learning.
Claro, es inspirador, pero además se puede profundizar en su aprendizaje.
And we can use this kind of modeling in the outdoor environments as well.
También se puede utilizar en un contexto fuera del aula.
So I don't know, maybe some of you know the Med City maps.
¿Alguien conoce esto? ¿Alguno de ustedes seguramente lo conoce?
And anyone knows Med City maps?
¿Alguien más conoce estos mapas?
So this is an app where you can create a mathematical map, mathematical trails in the city. So you can turn a classroom, a street, a city into a learning environment, and then you can just go around and then you can do exercises. It's like a geocaching.
Es una app donde ustedes pueden crear, pueden convertir el aula en una calle, en una ciudad. Y entonces, I mean, you create, because I couldn't get
So
it.
You create a
Yes.
trail, and then the students go
Claro.
home, and on the way they solve problems on the street.
Van encontrando problemas, van resolviendo problemas a medida que van avanzando en las calles. No había entendido.
I think you have lots of trails already here.
Ah,
So I think there are already
Muchos-
lots of trails in Buenos
Muchos de
Aires.
los retos están con piedra, sacando fotos, como...
Claro. very
Están muy
interesting.
interesantes.
Yes.
Very interesting indeed.
Yeah. So you can turn everything into learning environment.
Claro, todo se puede convertir en un contexto, ¿no? de enseñanza.
And what we did in Luxembourg, that using these Med City maps, students were walking home from the school, and then they were modeling churches and different buildings, and then they learned on the way home to do this, and then we just printed for them, and then they learned technology and then printed.
Claro, a medida que iban caminando a la salida de la escuela, ellos iban diseñando o resolviendo.
So if you have the app, I'm sure you will find thousands of trails already here, and then you can create your own.
Very interesting, because it's not a question of mathematics. You can
No.
use it wherever you want.
Yes.
Qué bueno, estoy aprendiendo mucho.
And also we are doing this in Uruguay with Materias, so exploring architecture in Uruguay.
Están también explorando la arquitectura en Uruguay, están trabajando con...
And my student in Korea, who also finished, looking at astronomy, mathematics, 3D printing, and augmented reality. So we can use all of these inspiring examples.
Bueno, este es su alumno en Corea del Sur y también combinando arquitectura, realidad aumentada, ¿sí?
And also with my colleague Noah Picard in Israel, we looked at how the culture of the Jewish culture can be used. So he had projects on literature, on poetry, on religious texts, on architecture, and then we can use all of this for connecting and teaching culture with mathematics and physics and other subjects.
Claro, bueno, con su colega en Israel, ellos también estuvieron explorando cuestiones que tienen que ver con la cultura judía y combinando no solamente o aplicando a matemática y física, pero literatura, poesía, arte.
And my other student from Portugal is doing that how the Portuguese culture are influencing mathematical learning in Portugal, Brazil, Angola, and Cape Verde. So all of the Portuguese-speaking countries.
Bueno, sus alumnos en Portugal están trabajando sobre países de habla portuguesa, ¿no? Brasil, Portugal, Angola.
Angola and Cape Verde, and then there are some African countries. And I think then that is a very interesting project, because I think the Spanish language and the Spanish culture is also very different than what we are doing in Europe, but it's different in Portugal. So it would be very interesting to explore that how we can use the particular cultures.
Claro, es interesante, culturas particulares, todas tienen un contenido obviamente diferente, y comparado Sudamérica con Europa, obviamente el valor cultural es diferente, ¿no? Entonces dice que es muy interesante esa combinación.
So we also have a very similar project in Indonesia. I have many students from Indonesia, and then they are exploring the culture, like shadow puppeting, and then also the textures in the clothes, and then how we can bring it to the classroom, and then how we can create hybrid classroom between this kind of cultural aspect.
Claro, el resultado es la creación de estas aulas, clases híbridas, porque traen todos estos componentes culturales que son completamente diferentes.
So we are doing this kind of project, and then also we are using in Indonesia these Smart City maps, and then we are creating thousands of trails on Indonesian culture, and then use this for modeling and learning, and it makes much more interesting for students. So we have lots of papers about this.
Bueno, tienen muchos papers sobre estos temas, y bueno, también en Indonesia, utilizando lo del map trail que contabas.
And I think I'm running out of time, so I skip some of this. So we do some robotics, but I think next time I will talk about this. But I want to get to the media and the arts. So we also try to look at students' culture, where they live. So students live on YouTube, and then they live on social media.
Claro, también un poco mirar la cultura de los alumnos, si ellos están en las redes.
So my students who also finished in Iceland, looking at short videos. It's called silent videos.
Sus alumnos, where are your students? Where are
From
they?
Iceland.
En Islandia, que no había prestado atención. Trabajaron sobre estos videos que se llaman videos silenciosos, ¿no? Son tareas sobre videos silenciosos.
So either the teachers or the students create very short videos, maximum 1 minute, and then they give it to the other students, and the other students have to become YouTubers. And they are very good to be YouTubers, and then they comment on the videos, they give it back, and that's how they learn to become YouTubers in the classroom.
Bueno, diseñan estas actividades muy chiquitas, en 1 minuto, y se las pasan a otros, y estos se convierten en YouTubers, y hacen los comentarios, y va y viene, digamos, ¿no?
Also, I will have a new student who will look at YouTubers with millions of followers doing the same problems on YouTube and in schools. And in schools, it's not no one wants to do the problems and they are watching millions of times on,
Claro, nadie quiere
YouTube.
resolver los problemas, pero sí mirar los videos de YouTube.
Okay. And my other students in Italy looking at how we can use memes for teaching mathematics, because these kind of memes are becoming viral, and then we can teach really really deep topics in mathematics and science.
Con estos memes, ¿no? Él dice que realmente se pueden enseñar temas que son muy complejos.
So she's becoming very famous because they are creating tens of thousands of memes, and then it goes beyond the classroom.
Y bueno, is that your student in Italy?
Yes,
Was-
she become a professor now in
No.
Torino.
Ah, ok, bueno, su alumna en Italia hizo miles de estos memes, ¿no?
So I have many students who already finished.
Yes. ¿No?
Yes.
All around the world.
And also my Indonesian student is now looking at digital comics, that how we can create this kind of digital comics. So either we create the comics, or we teach the students how to do this kind of comics, and then we can also talk about very serious issues. So for example, we look at climate change and social scientific issues with comics.
Bueno, también trabajar sobre cómo crear estos cómics y sobre temas que son complejos, por ejemplo, la deforestación, ¿no? O por ejemplo, el cambio climático.
And it turns out that this is a very interesting topic in Uruguay. So one of my future PhD students will also do comics.
Ah, bueno, uno de sus alumnos, no, uno de sus compañeros en
Um,
Uruguay
Francisco,
Ajá.
yes.
va a concentrarse sobre la creación de estos cómics.
So this is culture and media, but also we need to look at arts, because arts can be very inspiring for students. So I think I'm running out of time, so I
Me queda
think
poco
I
tiempo,
just
así
give
que se va a
some
apurar.
examples. I have lots of
Va a
other
mostrar
things.
los ejemplos.
So we are looking at mathematics and music. So my student is creating an app where the students can DJ, and then they can learn algebra and geometry and so on. So you can see some of the early trials of this
Bueno,
kind of mathematical DJing.
está creando, los alumnos también haciendo DJs, ¿no? Y ahí combinan álgebra con matemática.
And also, probably some of you know that GeoGebra have sound. So we can have functions with different sounds, and then we can use the sounds and composing music with functions.
Bueno, GeoGebra tiene sonido, entonces también se puede crear música.
And also we had a project in Cambridge when we had coding and mathematics and music creating. So we had this kind of DJing sessions with the
Bueno,
students
también en
when they
Cambridge
write codes.
tienen estas sesiones de DJ.
And the advantage that we can attract lots of girls, because music and the arts will bring in girls and then get their attention.
Muchas chicas atrajeron con esto de combinar la música, ¿no? Y el arte.
So, for example, we have a 3D printing jewelry from them. So we are creating jewelry with 3D printing with involves.
Bueno, con la impresora crean billutería,
And then also we look at origami.
origami.
So origami connected with technology, with 3D printing and augmented
Claro.
reality. And so on.
Conectado con realidad aumentada, con tecnología, con impresora 3D.
I went to the Japanese garden. to learn
Ah, you
science,
went
so-
there.
So we have this. And also we try to create some interesting projects. So with my colleague in Finland, who was also one of the speakers in the conference.
Ese es su colega de Finlandia que también habló en la, ¿no? en la conferencia.
Yeah. So in Europe, we have the closest connection with Finland and Estonia, who is like a startup country, and then also with Cambridge.
Tienen una conexión ¿no? en Europa con Finlandia, con Estonia y con Cambridge.
And together with them, we created a project with a very interesting tool. It's a Korean architecture tool called 4D Frame.
Crearon con una arquitectura coreana, ¿no?
And students and teachers were building this geodesic dome, so you can do it
Los domos.
in a small one, but this is a huge one, so everyone would fit into this dome.
Ah,
So it's like
son grandes, ¿no? Hasta podríamos entrar todos ahí debajo.
so the students have to collaborate to build it because it has more than 1,000 pieces.
Más de 1000 piezas, así que tienen, entonces los alumnos tienen que colaborar para poder
So
diseñar.
the students usually build in about 2 hours, but we did teacher workshops, so they did it for 5 hours.
Claro, los alumnos 2 horas más o menos, después los profesores están 5 horas más o menos terminando.
So teachers are more complicated than
Sí.
coordination problem. And when we build it, then we learn a lot of mathematics, but also we can do this kind of building with GeoGebra.
Pueden hacer este tipo de construcciones con la plataforma, ¿no?
And then based on the first inspirations, then we can explore lots of mathematics behind this kind of project. So we can look at the angles, the symmetries, the different triangles. So it can become a very complex problem with this very simple exercise.
Es más allá, ¿no? De lo que, no solo matemáticas, ¿no?
And it turned out that it became a national project in Finland.
En Finlandia se volvió un proyecto nacional.
And then they decided to build the world's largest ice dome.
Ah, birds, for birds.
The world's largest ice dome. So this is the biggest ice dome ever built.
Ah, con hielo, with ice, made of ice. Claro.
In
Un domo de hielo.
So in Finland it's possible. It would be much more difficult here.
Ah, yes, it's possible.
So you need
Acá
minus
no.
35 degrees.
Claro, con la temperatura es imposible.
So it was built by architects and then also with the students. So there were more than 5,000 students become part of this ice dome project. And then when they built the ice dome, there was a science exhibition and the learning center and so
Más de
on.
5.000 alumnos participaron y cuando lo terminaron hubo una exhibición. Se hizo.
And afterwards, when the students went back to the schools, they started to explore that how we can build it. So it's in architecture, in Disneyland and in the North Pole, and then we can do it with origami, with technology, and so on. So this very simple idea turned out to be a whole semester project.
Claro, con una idea tan simple ocupó todo un semestre porque ellos pudieron ver que podían construir y diseñar, ¿no?
And then we organized a conference on arts.
Hicieron una conferencia sobre arte.
And then we thought that we should go beyond this, and then we had mathematical hairdressing.
No, entonces se dieron cuenta que podían hacer una peluquería matemática.
So every July we organize this conference, and then we have the hairdresser. So if you are interested, you can have this.
En julio ellos organizan esto y lo que tienen al final de la conferencia son estas digamos, este tipo de corte. Y él dice, si ustedes quieren.
Uno de ellos se estaba por
Yeah, and
casar.
actually,
Se estaba por casar.
Claro.
so Christoph said that it was like 2 days before his wedding.
Ah, y uno de ellos, 2 días antes, dice Christoph, se estaba por casar. 2 días antes, así que.
But he is sacrificing for science.
Claro, se sacrifica por la ciencia, obvio. Sí, obvio.
Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting project. So we can use arts and culture for different topics. So
se puede combinar el arte y la matemática para distintos temas.
So maybe I'm out of time, and I have lots of other things. So for example, this is 3D printing is quite slow, so we started experimenting with laser cutting. So we are doing laser cutting arts.
La impresora era lenta, entonces empezaron a experimentar con láser.
And also we are looking at mazes.
Sí, laberintos.
So these labyrinths are in every culture. So
sí, existen en todas las culturas.
And it can be connected with history and mathematics and so on.
Se pueden conectar con historia, con matemática, con otras disciplinas.
But it's very expensive to build.
Sí, muy caro de construir, obviamente.
But we can do it with augmented reality.
Pero se puede hacer con realidad aumentada.
And then you can see that we do some experiments, and the students are just solving their own mazes
Claro.
with the AR thing,
Sí.
so you can try it.
Sí.
It's available.
Dice que traten, que después los alumnos van tratando de ir por su laberinto, ¿no?
And then we put some treasures in the
Ah.
labyrinths, and then if they find it, then we print it.
Pusieron también tesoros, tenían que ir encontrando estos tesoros en el laberinto.
Okay, so also we did, so also mandalas are part of the culture as well.
También
Really beautiful mandalas here in Argentina. And then we had some projects of building mandalas, drawing, and then so on. And then also we had vegetable and fruit mandalas, so we can eat mathematics and then discuss symmetry together.
Dice que también las mandalas hechas con frutas y uno termina comiendo la matemática, ¿no?
And then, of course, you can explore with technology. Probably I skipped some of them. Oh, then that is important projects. We are looking at mathematics and dancing. We have a big project on
This
mathematics
is the one you
and
like.
dancing.
Matemática y el baile, ¿no?
So we have a theater, and then we have performances on mathematics and dancing.
Ah, tienen funciones de matemática y baile.
And then also in Africa, we have a project when every movement can be a mathematical movement. So we are doing a connection with how you move your hands and then how you create things. So this is like mathematics and movement.
En África también trabajan con el movimiento y la matemática. La manera en que moves tus manos, por ejemplo, o la manera en que te moves, tiene que ver con la matemática.
And also I have a student from Mexico who is looking at physics and dancing. And then she is working with ballet dancers.
Sí.
And then creating videos with
Y una alumna de México está creando videos con el ballet, en mathematics y física. Ah, physics.
and then of course we can connect physical and digital. So we had a performance together with the Arts Electronica Center of dancers and robots. So robots were dancing together
With human
humans.
beings.
Yes.
Claro, también robots bailando con los humanos.
And then there was a project on puppeting. So teaching the
títeres.
robots to do puppeting.
Ujú.
And then also doing music. So 2 years ago we had a robot drum band
Playing the drums.
playing the drums.
Un robot tocando la batería.
Yes. So I don't know. I have lots of other things. So very important
Tiene
for the
mucho-
German. So we have
la creadora, ¿no?
the most important expert on
Ay,
photogeography.
sí.
And then we are working with different artists. And so what else? We are looking at computational thinking. So for example, storytelling and computer programming. For example, how to create program robots to rescue so they have to have a story that how to rescue the princess
The
from
princess. También trabajan, por ejemplo, con los cuentos. Entonces tienen un robot que tiene que rescatar a la princesa, ¿no?
yeah. So and I think that's some of this.
Lots of things we have here.
Yes.
That's why.
Oh, then this is my other student who is working on learning spaces. How we can create any space into a learning space. A classroom, a room, a street.
Estos son los alumnos que trabajan con la creación de espacios de aprendizaje.
And then maybe Yuka, who is, I think maybe some of you know because he gives lots of TED Talks and so on. So he has this very famous mathematics classroom in Finland that how you can create an environment when the students enjoy and then learn a lot.
Claro, porque cuando uno puede crear un espacio donde los alumnos disfrutan, aprenden.
So essentially, this classroom was designed by the students, and then all of the equipment what you see is earned by the students. So they were working in the weekends and so on. So they had a project that what they want in the classroom to feel well, and then they earned everything to become in this kind.
Todos esos objetos, los alumnos deciden qué es lo que quieren tener en el aula. Y ellos tienen que, digamos, llevarlos, diseñarlos, trabajar con ellos.
So Yuka is looking at well-being. So if you are interested, he has like 10 million views on YouTube and so on. So he's a famous
En YouTube
teacher.
hay para ver.
Okay, so, but probably, maybe this is statistics and sustainability. We are looking at big data, and then we can even teach big data for very young students with GeoGebra on the donut economy model. But I think I'm talking a little bit too much, and then maybe we
Dice
have
que
some
bueno,
questions.
tiene muchas cosas más, pero quizás ustedes quieran preguntar.
Yeah, so essentially, this is what we are doing. All of this is research-based. I have some sections about theories and methodologies and so on, but maybe next year we have the summer school. We will talk a lot about methodologies and methods and then how to do research, and then we have more than 200 papers on this.
Quizás el próximo año, ¿no? Hablar más sobre metodología, sobre el espacio de investigación, pero que hay papers, ¿no? Publicados así que.
Yeah, and then we are planning some special issues. For,
¿Y están planeando algo ustedes?
Una edición especial
Ajá.
y además algunas charlas durante el año, en some talks,
Some
some
sorts,
years.
yes, so we will have two journal special issue for this year, and then next year I think we will expand it because there will be lots of people interested.
Sí, estamos organizando desde el grupo de investigación en educación STEAM, el grupo latinoamericano, una edición especial en un journal sobre distintos tópicos que tienen que ver con la investigación en educación STEAM. Ya tenemos distintos grupos, o ya más o menos está pensado cuáles van a ser los temas, y las personas que ya estuvieron trabajando en la escuela de verano, que dieron algunas charlas, van a trabajar con nosotros.
Yeah, so I think I will finish now, but I can send the slides. There are another 100 slides.
Va a mandar las slides.
But it would be really good that if you would become, if you are interested in then joining this community and then maybe visit us and work with us and then definitely participating in our upcoming
Está
events.
invitando a participar si están interesados en esta comunidad y a trabajar juntos.
Yeah, so Christina knows everything, and then I think we have the network here
sabe
with Karina. And I think we have lots of yes.
¿Cómo fue la migración entre el aula clásica, donde están los alumnos ubicados sentados y el docente dando cátedra, al aula que mostraron a lo último, donde cada alumno genera su espacio y busca su forma de aprender con la guía del docente? ¿Cómo fue ese camino? ¿Cuánto tiempo duró? ¿Cuánta inversión de tiempo tiene que tener el docente? Porque hoy un docente prepara una clase en condiciones normales, 3 horas por cada hora de cátedra. ¿Cómo fue toda esa inversión de tiempos y recursos para llegar desde un aula tradicional al aula que se está proponiendo?
He wants to know about the movement from a traditional classroom to the one that you are proposing, and he wants to know, he wants to know how long does it take, yes, to make this change, and then how long you need as a teacher to prepare, yes, a class for this type of classroom, because in normal conditions you need 3 hours for 1 hour if in front of your students. But what about this?
So I think it will take lots of time.
Mucho tiempo.
Because what I'm showing to you that we are doing this kind of experiments, and essentially there are lots of teachers who are doing part of this. So you don't have to do all of this at once.
No se puede hacer todo de una sola vez. Hay varios profesores haciendo distintas cosas.
But what we observe that education is changing, and then we cannot really keep the attention of the students. So essentially we will have to transition the education system, but it takes a lot of time.
Lo que sí se sabe es que la educación está cambiando, pero sí, para ese movimiento lleva muchísimo tiempo.
But for example, or in Finland and Estonia, the schools are very different. So when you go to a school, you don't even notice that this is a school. It's more like a playground.
Cuando uno va a una escuela en Finlandia o en Estonia, ni siquiera el aspecto de la escuela te parece que es una escuela, parece que es un lugar de juego.
but it took them like 50 years to keep
50
like a concentration of it. So what we are proposing, that we are giving possibilities for all different kind of things for teachers to try. And then if you try it once, then it's good. Then maybe if it's successful, then you do it twice in the upcoming year.
Lo que ellos dan son estas posibilidades. Entonces vos como profesor intentás, bueno, y sirvió, e intentás otra cosa. Y bueno, y así.
But the system also needs to change. So all successful system, like in Finland and Estonia, is that they give lots of authority for the teachers, so lots of freedom, no tests. And then also they prepare the teachers very well. So maybe in Finland, they only take the top 3% of all the students who become teachers. So the most prestigious university places are teachers.
Bueno, él dice que primero que el sistema debería cambiar, ¿no? Y él lo que dice que el modelo de Finlandia, las universidades más prestigiosas son las que forman profesores. Entonces, esto es el resultado de lo que él dice del sistema, ¿no? Que debería modificar.
Que llevó muchos años.
Y llevó muchos años, él dice 50 años.
Yeah, so the system will change that if we try, and I think there are not every teacher will try, but I think we need to respect the teachers, and then only when we give freedom and then opportunities for the teachers, then the system will change. But our role is, let's do some trials, and then when you see that the students like it, I think it's very inspiring for all the students.
Dice, bueno, nuestro trabajo es mostrarte y hagamos intentos. Y cuando ves que el alumno de verdad lo disfruta, bueno, eso funciona.
In our research group, what I'm telling to the students, that we shouldn't concentrate on what is not, because it will change. What we need to concentrate on how education should look like 15 or 20 years from now, and then try to get the idea of things, and then the teachers in the classroom might be able to do part of it, but eventually it will turn the system upside down.
Él dice, no nos podemos concentrar en lo que pasa ahora, sino pensar qué es lo que va a pasar dentro de 15 o 20 años, y bueno, y hacer movimientos en ese sentido de a poco, ¿no? Little by little.
Yes. So it's difficult, it takes a lot of time,
Difícil, lleva tiempo.
but we should try.
Pero hay que
And
tratar.
then that's what we are doing.
Y eso es lo que ellos intentan mostrar.
And then whoever is participating in this project, they are very inspired.
Bueno, todos los que participan de este proyecto saben.
I hope it's
¿Tienes
okay.
alguna experiencia con el electromagnetismo?
Any experience with electromagnetism?
So my students who is doing, so I'm mostly working with mathematics students, but we will have a professor on physics education, and I think she has something, but I can ask April, because she's doing this kind of dancing thing, so maybe she's considering.
Hay una profesora que cree que está trabajando con esto, que él, bueno, puede averiguar.
Yeah, but on GeoGebra, lots of examples on electromagnetism. I'm sure you can find hundreds of thousands of exercises.
Muchos ejercicios. ¿Qué dice? Está bien.
Excuse me, my English is very poor, and I have a lot of dust and rust in my English, and I am not in a basic materials, and I work in a like teacher in a turbo machines.
Yes.
Then we make something about you with buckets of turbo machines. Buckets This, excuse me, not there. This is the buckets of machines. Then the steam, the water, gas format go inside here and then turn and exhale in this position. Then this transfer energy to the rotor.
Yes.
Well, with this material, the first we have a group of energy. We take this format of the place of steams. Then we make these shapes in AutoCAD, and after that we put all of this format in this shape. And then this is the format.
Sí, claro, decime. Obvio. Obvio.
If you look this, you can see all of this form. And when you take it out and look this is a nozzle convergent divergent form, because this is part of fluid mechanicals materials, and this is of the turbine machines. Then this was the format to the students look this format into the machines. You ask about if you make something about this, but
So I think this is very similar what we are doing, that creating really interesting exercises.
Yes,
and students learn lots of things by creating, and this kind of creation and creativity which we need to bring it into the classroom.
Con el alumno, con extra.
Interact with the student.
Yes,
Students.
really interesting. I think very similar what we are doing, but in different forms. So
Yes.
Thank you so much.
No. Thank you.
¿Alguien más?
Hello.
Hello.
Well, first of all, I would like you to say thank you to you for your explanation and presentation. I was in your last future conference in December with the teacher Canover. Well, that conference I learned a lot of things related to this, and well, I find very interesting the transdisciplinary method, the teaching and learning method. And I think it's brilliant the way it's linked music with arts, literature, poetry. Well, and for me, it's a discovery. Many of that assets and resources that you provided to us. So I think I look forward to try some of that. For example, the augmented reality, that things I've never heard of before. So, well, thank you so much for that explanation.
Great. So we have a good potential PhD student. So really, that if you are interested being part of the group, I can add you to our Slack channel, and then you can participate. So this is just one lecture, but we are doing it like every 2 weeks, and then we are discussing work. So if you want to do research with us, and then, yeah, so if you are inspired, then I think it would be very nice to work together. So I'm just showing it because we are doing it, but I'm sure many of you doing even more cool things like this kind of thing. So this is a very small fraction of what we do. You have much more experience, and And then that is the idea to connect. So maybe you can give me your email address, I give you to the group,
Okay, thank you.
and then you talk with Christina, and then we are always looking for good researchers and good students. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great.
Bien. Bueno, te invito a participar.
Sí,
Te invito a participar en el grupo de investigación.
I'm a research group.
Yes.
Undergraduate
Undergraduate. Todavía estás estudiando, ¿no es cierto?
So Christina,
Third year.
what's your name?
Agustín.
Agustin. So Christina, you can send Agustin
Yeah.
for us to,
Oh.
because then there are lots of scholarships. So if you want to apply for scholarships, I can send you a thing. So I think it's a possibility. So if you can spend some time with us, that's
Okay,
good.
thank you for the meeting.
Yeah, good.
Bien.
¿Alguna pregunta?
En YouTube, no, hay todos saludos y felicitaciones. Ninguna pregunta.
Felicitan por YouTube, saludan.
Bueno,
Me parece.
ok.
Se lo voy a decir en castellano.
Sí.
Por- me interesó el proyecto del domo con hielo,
Sí.
que ahí se necesitan distintas áreas que trabajen para poder diseñar y que eso soporte. Entonces me parece interesante. Bien. Bien. Bueno, le pregunté a Zsolt sobre el proyecto del domo,
Perdón,
que-
ICE.
project, que son necesarias distintas áreas
Yes, you need different disciplines to work with.
Yes.
para diseñar, para ver cómo
To
soporta,
design how
claro,
it's supported.
cómo soporta ese hielo. Son proyectos interesantes para trabajar, por ejemplo, en una facultad de ingeniería.
They are very interesting to work in an engineering.
Yes. So actually, it was a very difficult problem to build this ice dome.
Muy difícil construirlo.
And do you know why it is very difficult to build an ice
¿Por
dome?
qué tan difícil construir el domo? ¿Saben? Pregunta si saben por qué fue tan complejo construir el domo.
Do you have any idea that
¿Alguna idea?
why is it difficult to build an ice dome?
Un domo de hielo, ¿no? ¿Por qué es tan complejo? Because it melts. She says
No.
the ice melts.
Because in Finland, it's not a problem.
No, claro, en Finlandia era.
So if you want to build it in Buenos Aires, then it's a
There
big
you have a
problem.
problem.
Any idea?
¿Alguna idea de por qué?
Yes. Ice is very heavy.
Claro, muy pesado.
And then to build the structure, that how you put, so it has to have a thickness, so they needed to have some kind of structure, so they hired some architects from England and from other places to, it's not only water, they had to add some elements because
Tuvieron que una estructura, tuvieron que agregar elementos, tuvieron que contratar algunos ingenieros de Inglaterra.
To design.
yes, you have to design and then also design a procedure that how you put the different layers on
Con
this.
ese procedimiento para poder colocar cada una de las piezas. en el
Yeah,
domo.
because ice is extremely heavy, and then also you need them to have the thickness. So it was a very complex engineering project to build something with a kind of. So if you build like one piece, then it's not a problem because it
Right.
supports. But building something which is very heavy and then it was a very.
Pero construir una sola pieza no era el problema era todo el domo.
Yeah, I think there are some videos and then articles about building the ice.
The
dome.
building of the
Yes.
It's a
hay
real
artículos
problem
sobre
to
eso.
analyze
Mhm.
different subjects.
Yes.
Claro.
Very
And also the material, the 4D frame. So if you want, we can get you some of this because we are working with the Korean designer. And then next time when you come, we can build this dome here. So we have some materials we can bring. So
¿Qué es lo que
Ahí sí me toca.
so we already did this in. I think Christoph was talking about. We had a project in South Africa and in Israel when we were building this dome, and we can do it together.
está
Domo,
construir el domo en Sudáfrica y en Israel. Eso
Sí,
lo están haciendo.
Christoph fue uno de los oradores en la escuela de verano y mostró distintas construcciones de domo, pero bueno, no particularmente
Pero no el de hielo,
el de hielo.
claro.
Yeah, so maybe we can have this. So I think probably some of you know that we built a solar oven during the summer school.
No.
¿Qué construyeron?
Bueno, para los que no saben,
¿Qué hicieron?
además de las conferencias sobre educación STEAM, sobre investigación en educación STEAM, estuvimos diseñando y construyendo un horno solar.
Un horno.
La mayoría éramos profesores de matemática, y entre todos diseñamos, construimos y luego cocinamos.
También.
Sí, se hizo en la terraza de la facultad. Hay algunos videitos muy interesantes. Salchichas porque no había tiempo, pero se cocinaron también. Pablo cocinó pizzas.
So we have a lot of pictures about this,
Yes.
and then we built a solar oven, and during the last lecture we cooked the lunch for the entire group. And
Para todos. Sí, bueno, construyeron, ¿no? Ese horno y después hicieron el almuerzo para todos.
Sí, nos cocinamos nosotros también,
Claro,
hacía mucho
calor.
Do we have the pictures on the
¿Tenés
website?
alguna foto ahí?
Sí,
¿no?
yo tengo fotos y videos.
Did we
pero
put
creo-
it
I
on the
don't know
website?
if-
En la
But
carpeta.
I'm sure you
No
have
hay
it.
una carpeta con eso. Debería.
there is a folder, but
No sé si lo pusieron
No,
todavía, no lo guardaron.
I don't
I
know.
think that Materias don't.
So we can plan this. So this is like kind of creativity. So you can do anything which is interesting for you, and then for you, just do something which is really interesting. So the admission criteria for doctoral school in Linz is that you need to do something which is really interesting, because to spend like 3-4 years on a PhD on something boring,
No.
that is really bad.
You have to fall in love with what you are doing. Otherwise, él dice que el requisito para poder entrar al doctorado es que hagas algo que sea creativo y que te guste, ¿no? Y lo que yo agregué es que tenés que enamorar de eso, porque si no, 3 o 4 años haciendo un doctorado sobre algo que realmente no te gusta, es un fastidio.
Yeah, so then that's why we have really cool projects with the students, because they really want to do something
Claro, por eso tiene esos
interesting.
proyectos tan interesantes, porque los alumnos quieren hacer cosas interesantes.
Yo quería agregar lo del horno solar, que el horno fue realmente una excusa, entre comillas. Lo importante fue el diseño, el trabajo colaborativo, el poder trabajarlo o simularlo en GeoGebra, qué era posible, qué no era posible, calcular las parábolas, las aberturas, etcétera, etcétera. Un montón de cosas que se hicieron entre los distintos actores, entre los profesores. Y además, lo bueno es que trabajamos en forma híbrida. Esto es, algunas de las personas que estaban por internet, porque no podían asistir a la escuela, colaboraron con aquellos que estaban diseñando el horno, parte del horno. Así que fue muy interesante. Usamos mucha matemática, yo física también, bueno, discusiones, fue muy, por lo menos, no sé, hay gente que está acá que estuvo y puede dar eso.
She says that it was very interesting because they work collaboratively and then also with people who were not there but virtually present. They could discuss and they could share.
Yeah, but I think for your question, this is the future of education.
It is a
We-
futuro.
We don't have to be in the same classroom. We can be anywhere. We can collaborate in any different kind of way. Any kind of crazy ideas.
O sea, no necesitas estar en el aula.
El año pasado, en cátedra, hicimos una experiencia con los alumnos de armar maquetas de una red que se llama HFC, fibra coaxil, y lo que son los hilos de leche, que es una maqueta de electromagnetismo.
They work he worked with his students last year. They designed, an outline, something, an outline with yes, electromagnetism.
Al principio tuvo que ocupar mucho a los alumnos porque le ponías un destornillador y no le daban miedo de tomar un
At
destornillador
first
en
it was
mano.
difficult because students were afraid of using these tools, yes, the ones that we're supposed to use. The
Y
screwdriver, for example.
cuando tomaron confianza, se fueron. Yo los
But
seguí.
then, when they gained confidence Well, they started.
Hicieron trabajos en 3D, muchos de los elementos de fijación que hicieron falta, los hicieron en 3D.
They were with 3D.
Y después varias soluciones técnicas que a mí no se me ocurrieron.
And they came up with solutions that he had no idea about them. The students provided them.
La verdad que fue una linda experiencia y me sentí acompañado por los alumnos. Y me gustaría volver a repetir este año y aplicando ya también los
It
técnicos.
was a very good experience working with his students. He wants to do it again this year.
So I think you have lots of, so I think everyone has really cool ideas.
Todos tienen ideas buenas.
And I think this is how education will move.
Y así es como la educación se mueve.
But what we are trying to do in this kind of group is that, and then also with my doctoral school, is that we have really cool ideas. And then we have an impression that, okay, students like it, and then so on. But why we are doing research on it, to really understand it, why the students like it, why they don't like it, how we can do it better. So next year and then all of this, we want to look at not only anecdotes, but like collecting data, how this is working, and then that's what we want to bring in this kind of
Well, that's research. Él dice que lo que hay que hacer es juntar, no solo anécdotas, no solo una anécdota, sino que juntar información, y esto es lo que ellos hacen en estos grupos para investigar, y es lo que hace también en el doctorado, ¿no? Es, digamos, buscar toda esta información que vos sabés que, y cómo lo pones en práctica con los alumnos, y qué les gusta, qué no les gusta, y en base a esos datos es donde deberás investigar, ¿no?
So I think when you are doing the project or anyone is doing something cool, you feel that it works. But what we try to do with this kind of summer school and so on, why it works, and then how is the way to be able to improve in this kind of way, but from a systematic perspective, not only that, okay, it feels good.
Y de que cuando funciona, vos tenés una idea bárbara, entonces esa idea funciona, pero lo que ellos se preguntan es ¿por qué funciona? Entonces investigan sobre eso, ¿no?
So then that's why we call this as a research conference, because we want to go beyond this kind of, okay, it's cool, but why is it cool?
Why?
And then also in that case we can write it up, we can. So then this is how we advance the field, not only just by doing cool things, but going one step beyond.
Claro, él dice es ir más allá, por eso los llaman, son digamos, conferencias de investigación, porque la idea es, bueno, la idea es brillante, la pusiste en práctica, pero ¿por qué funcionó? ¿O por qué no funcionó? Entonces él dice, lo que hay que hacer es ir más allá.
¿Cómo se hace?
Se investiga, se investiga, se compara, se investiga, se prueba. No, I'm sorry.
So I think then that's why what we did in the third day is that I was talking about measurements, that how do we measure, how do we understand, and then that's why we need to have the theories, that's why we need to have the methodologies to systematically investigate what is happening, because we feel it's good, but
Claro, él dice,
but we
nosotros
need to go beyond.
sabemos que es bueno, pero tenemos que ir más allá, necesitamos un marco teórico, una metodología, ¿no? Para poder, digamos, investigar y medir, ¿no? Él hablaba de medir, ¿no?
So
Do you have any quantitative measure about the students this kind of education when they transition from college to university?
what do you mean measure?
Any measure about the
Statistics.
about,
Statistics.
yeah,
Kind of.
Percentage,
So-
probably.
yeah,
¿No?
Sí, statistics.
Yeah, so I think then that was the third day of the conference. So most of the people think about research that, okay, this is better than the other one is not, and then we want to collect statistics. But when we talk about methodologies, then we need to go beyond statistics, and And I think I was talking about for a whole day that we need new methodologies beyond just saying that, oh, technology is better or not better in this in this one. So we have about 250 papers on research that we are using in this kind of work, but it's not only statistics, because when we need to look at behind the numbers.
Porque él preguntó para los demás, digo, él preguntó si hay hay estadísticas sobre esta transición, ¿no? Preguntaste de lo que sería la escuela a la universidad. Y él lo que dice es, hay 250 papers, pero en realidad es más allá de la estadística, no es solo la estadística. I'm sorry, and also it's not only quantitatively,
No.
the research solo, it's also qualitative.
Yes.
It's not quantity and quality, it's not only ¿no? Yo lo que estoy diciendo que no es solamente cuantitativa, es también cualitativa, sobre todo porque ellos trabajan con cultura, con arte, ¿no? Me parece que...
So then that's why we need to look at innovations in methodologies. We cannot really say that the classroom with technology and without the technology is better than the other, because we can prove anything. They are better, they are the same. Then I can set up experiment for you to prove anything. But I think we need to go beyond that.
Claro, dice, no es solamente, bueno, sirve, no sirve, con tecnología sí, sin tecnología, hay que ir más allá.
So for our research, most of the time we use design-based research. I don't know if you know design-based research.
Porque usan lo que se llama investigación basada en diseño, que en realidad la investigación basada en diseño viene de otras áreas, no viene propiamente de la investigación educativa, pero viene de las empresas y de las mejoras de productos. Entonces utilizan lo que se llama investigación basada en diseño, que es para la mejora de, en este caso no sería un producto, sino sería un proceso, una experiencia, etc.
So design-based research is more like a new, it's a kind of emerging methodology that we are designing interventions together with teachers. We are trialing it, and then we collect lots of data, not only statistics. We can do questionnaires, we can do observations, videos, and then so on, but we want to understand that what is happening on the classroom, and then we analyze this data and then redesign this kind of experiment. And then we have this kind of design cycles.
Un montón de cosas. Voy a tratar de recordar todo lo que digo. Es porque sí, you said a lot of things I'm trying to remember where you started. Dijo que con este tipo de metodología, ¿no? Basada en el diseño. Sí, ¿no? Lo que ellos tratan de hacer es preguntarse por qué funciona o no funciona y rediseñar nuevamente, ¿no? Volver a diseñar y mejorar no es el producto, es el proceso, es el proceso.
So this kind of design research or design thinking comes from a kind of engineering. That's how do we engineer educational environments, and then that is we find it a much more rich way of understanding the classroom, just saying one is better than the other.
Perdón, es una manera más enriquecedora y dice que esto también proviene de la ingeniería, tiene que ver con la ingeniería, esta metodología.
But what we also find that this has a limitation.
Pero tiene una limitación.
And then because technology is changing so fast that by the time we finish the design cycle, the technology changes very quickly.
Cambia tan rápido que para cuando ellos terminaron el diseño ya cambió.
So we need to do methodological innovations. So we started to look at the whole technology companies like Google or Facebook and then so on, looking at designs.
Ellos observan estas compañías, ¿no? Como Google o Microsoft. Facebook, perdón.
Yeah, every technology company.
Y ver los diseños que ellos tienen.
And I think if you are an engineer, you know UX research.
Y sos ingeniero y experiencia del usuario. Claro.
So what we are trying to do is combining like traditional educational research methodologies with UX research, with eye tracking and A/B testing and
combinan estas nuevas metodologías con la tradicional.
so we need to have new methodologies to understand what it is, and it's not enough to say that one is better than the other, because we need to understand rather than just judging is what is better.
No es solamente decir cuál es, si esta es mejor que la otra, sino que necesitamos entender qué es lo que pasa.
And for example, we are looking at personas from UX research, that for every teacher, for every student, the educational experience is different. So,
Right.
so the teachers, depends how they teach, depends on if it's Monday morning or Friday
Claro.
afternoon. What is the experiments, one classroom and the other ones? So we need to be much more flexible than just
Sí.
saying that what is working.
Mucho más flexible tenemos que ser porque todos los profesores son diferentes, todos los alumnos son diferentes. El mismo profesor no enseña igual el lunes a la mañana que el viernes a la tarde. Entonces hay que tener todas estas variables, ¿no?, en cuenta.
So then that's why we need to improve the methodologies.
Hay que
And
mejorar
then,
las metodologías.
and then it's becoming more rapid on this. And I think you have some.
Voy a formularla en castellano.
Sí,
Algunos de nuestros problemas de enseñanza tienen que ver con concept acquisition, con la adquisición de conceptos, no solamente con cuestiones procedimentales que se ensayan en el campo, ¿no?
he says that one of the problems that we have in teaching has to do with concept acquisition. Yes.
Por ejemplo, ¿dónde queda el foco de una parábola?
Where is the focus in it? Una parábola dijiste.
Sí, el foco de una parábola.
Sí, una parábola. Where is the focus in the parábola?
¿Cómo hacemos para construir estos conceptos?
How
Porque
can we
no surgen
construct,
solo de la
build
experiencia.
concepts? It's a difficult question.
I think I was talking about concept a lot in this kind of. So I think I need to get back to that if we have good teachers, good preparation of the teachers, they can suit their experience to the
Dice que si
classroom.
tenemos buenos profesores, ellos son los que pueden, digamos, transmitir esta experiencia.
And for different classroom, different teacher, different country, different language, so on, the concepts are very much like culturally based, and
Sí.
then so.
Él dice diferentes profesores, diferentes alumnos, diferentes contextos, diferentes países, y la construcción de conceptos es cultural, tiene un componente cultural.
But what we need is really prepare really good teachers who will be able to understand. And essentially, I think we don't have to teach.
Tenemos que preparar bien a los profesores, ¿no?
What we need to do is ask good questions and then inspire students.
Hay que hacer buenas preguntas e inspirar a los alumnos.
And
So easy.
if you look at good education systems like Finland or Estonia, and then some of the other ones, the shift is moving from content to skills.
Claro, sí, digamos,
Skills and content.
son
Yes.
destrezas.
And the
Habilidades.
content, we have all the content here
Claro, el
because we
contenido está, la destreza es.
we have the resources, and
Ya
the
tenemos la
students are very.
información, no los conceptos.
Exacto, bueno, sí,
But we need-
es cierto.
But we
Here we
need
have
to.
information, not contents.
But we need to teach the students that how to find, how to validate, how to
Claro, él
argue.
dice, hay que enseñarle al alumno dónde buscar, cómo validar, cómo, if it is reliable
So-
information or not.
Yes, and then how to have this. So to have the concept of the focus of the parabola, I think we can have 10,000 different ways to get to this concept. But what we need to do is skill teachers to be able to suit the students. If they do like, okay, look at the bridge, how it is working, or look at some videos or something like this, we can arrive to the same concept understanding from different perspective if the teacher is skilled, and then these kind of skills are well developed in the students
Bueno,
as well.
la idea es
Okay.
profesores que tengan, estén
Versátiles.
entrenados, ¿no?
Profesores versátiles.
Versátiles, ¿no? Y,
But of course, it's many times the systems, the student or the teachers don't have time, they don't have
Claro.
energy, they have to do
Claro.
other things. But I think that is the message for the systems to
Sí,
change
también
the
es un problema del
systems
sistema. No tenemos tiempo, estamos cansados.
Yeah. So if we value teachers well, I think the education and understanding of the focus of the parabola will be solved. Otherwise, we can do all kind of experiments. If the teachers are not skilled and overwhelmed, then
Si todo se
we can
reduce
do
a eso,
anything.
¿no?
Perhaps we have to develop groups or teams of teachers who can work together.
Claro.
It's so easy.
Yeah. So for example, in Finland, teachers only work for 4 days
Claro.
in a week, and on the 5th day they go to observe each other, and then they give reflections to each other. So they have been this kind of collaborative work in
And feedback.
the school. So for 1 day
Claro.
they are observing each other's classes, and then they are
En Finlandia
assisting.
trabajan solo 4 días a la semana y el 5.º día van a observar a sus compañeros y lo que hacen es una crítica constructiva. Entonces es un ida y vuelta. Acá no podemos. Es trabajo. Claro.
Yeah. So they work together, and then this is built into the system that how it is done.
Right.
We have to finish because many of teachers have to
Exams.
have
Exam boards. Many of them have exam boards, so we have to
And
finish.
exams are very big problem.
Yes.
So I don't give exams to students. I only have a conversation. Good. So thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.